Good morning, and good Lord, is it early. You know, the Dodgers have had this remarkable habit. You know, they would find hitters that were just barely in the major leagues and just turn them into superstars. Lickety-split. Your Max Muncies, your Chris Taylors. Are they now going to do the same thing with starters? Today, we're going to break down what has happened with Andrew Heaney, and more importantly, can it last? I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and start for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is Faithful Angelenos. It is April 19th, 2022. I think it's Omaha, Nebraska, in yet another sleazy hotel, trying to make a little extra money in Joe Biden's America. And no, I do not make the extra money in said sleazy hotel. That's not my career, but we'll put that to the side. If you like the content we've been putting out for the last month and a half, by all means, clickety-clack the like button, clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notifications bell. Hit that. We put out a new video between 9 and 10 a.m. That notifications bell will remind you when we're out. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist on your social media feeds, and by all means, comment. I'm not God. I don't know everything. So before we go to the main topic, Andrew Heaney, because to be honest, I think I glossed over him yesterday. We'll go through the scoreboard, some of the news and notes around Los Angeles. Last night at Dodger Stadium, Dodgers extended their winning streak to 7 games. And Freddie Freeman hits a home run against his former team in his first at-bat. Dodgers 7, Atlanta 1. They'll play again tonight, by the way, over at Chavez Ravine. Meanwhile, the Kings will play Anaheim as they keep trying to fortify a spot in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And an interesting game that doesn't have anything to do with Major League Soccer. The U.S. Cup, it's sort of like a nationwide professional soccer tournament. The LA Galaxy will play San Diego Loyal tonight. What makes it special? The Loyal are managed by former Galaxy legend and USMNT legend Landon Donovan. That would be a fun one to take a peek at if you have a moment in between innings. News and notes. Jaime Jaquez Jr. has decided to return to UCLA for his senior season. This is a big win for the Bruins. There's just no doubt. He was a first-team All-Pac-12 selection last year. He almost scored 14 points a game, 5.7 rebounds per game. What made him stand out was the fact that all the eyes were on Johnny Juzang because of the performance that Juzang put on in the NCAAs 2 years ago. This guy proved himself to be as valuable, maybe even more so. Now, we have yet to hear about Juzang, whether or not he's returning, or Tiger Campbell. But yeah, the Bruins win with this one, no question. It was recently established that JT Daniels, former USC quarterback, has transferred to West Virginia. Hey, guess who his offensive coordinator is? The guy who almost got him killed at USC, Graham Harrell. I think we need to start questioning whether JT Daniels actually does have a good head on his shoulders. What the hell are you doing? Going to the guy who basically called the play that got your leg snapped? No, I've seen smarter decisions. Miller Moss, the backup quarterback at SC, he's been getting rave reviews from the coaching staff. I think it's great. I think it's nice, but I don't want to be fooled. It's Caleb Williams' team, and I think everybody knows it. Also over at USC, there is a GoFundMe page set up for the family of Aaliyah Gales. She's the prospect. We mentioned her yesterday. She got shot at a house party out in Las Vegas. You might want to contribute. She was shot 10 times. I didn't realize it was that severe. That's pretty harsh. Also, the Rams, they begin OTAs today. They're voluntary. They're closed. We're not going to know anything. Even the media isn't even allowed to watch. So let's talk about Dodgers baseball. Let's talk about Andrew Heaney. So there's just no way to sugarcoat it. He was stinking up the joint. Last we saw him, before he signed with the Blue, he was over in Yankee Stadium. He's a fly ball pitcher. You put a fly ball pitcher in Yankee Stadium, PU. And he would tell you that. He finished his Yankees career a half a year with an ERA of 7.32. Overall, he's a sub 500 pitcher before he signed with LA. He was 31, 38. Now, he is a former Dodger. He was originally acquired from the Marlins in the D. Gordon trade years ago, and then they immediately shipped him off to the Anaheim Angels as part of a trade for Howie Kendrick. So the Angels were in need of starting pitching, which is why they got Heaney. He was in his early 20s then. They thought they had a gem who would be their ace. But after a couple of years, he had Tommy John surgery then, and that just started a downward spiral for the guy. So, what was Heaney's problem? How did the Dodgers address it? And can it last? Well, basically, there were a couple of problems. One, he relied way too much on his fastball, and hitters waited on it. And if you got a fastball and you made contact with it, you had a batting average of over 500. And by the way, he threw his fastball a lot. So that became batting practice. You don't think major league hitters adjusted to that? Of course they did. He wound up allowing more than 2 home runs every 9 innings pitched. So yeah, that was a problem that needed to be addressed. So the solution was twofold. We'll get to the easy part first, and then the second part, which took a while. When you start to fail, sometimes you get thinking too much, and Andrew Heaney got into his own head. He ruined his own windup. What do I mean by that? Well, you got your pitching rubber. You have to be precise as to where you stand on the pitching rubber to make sure that pitch, your delivery is consistent, that the ball is going to go where you want it to go. If you line up on one side of the mound for one pitch and the other side for the next pitch, you're talking about an 18-inch difference. So he would go start off on this side of the rubber, start off on that side of the rubber, and the Dodgers, the pitching staff, the pitching coaches, Mark Pryor was like, stop it, just stand right in the middle of the rubber. You're overthinking it. And then in addition to that, of course, Andrew Heaney started adding things to his windup. He was twisting himself up into a pretzel. And so Pryor has basically been pulling out all of that extra stuff. I mean, Heaney would twist so far you would almost see his back, his nameplate on the back of his jersey if you were standing at home plate. So they got rid of the twisting. They basically found a way to eventually get his release point to be at the same spot, regardless of the pitch. Okay? So that way you at least have an idea of where the pitch is going, instead of being all over the place. The second one, they've been simplifying it in the national press. They say, well, the Dodgers wanted to add a slider. That's an understatement. Okay? The Dodgers have been teaching a lot of their players a version of the slider that they call the sweeper. And they've revived a lot of careers with it. According to analytics writer Enos Saris, he writes for The Athletic, he covers analytics. They've done the same for Walker Buehler, Julio Urias, Blake Trinan, Evan Phillips. And if my memory is correct, they didn't mention it, but Kenley Jansen, I think they've changed his, I think they added a slider to his repertoire toward the second half of the season. And you remember, Jansen had a revival. So what does this mean? This is where it gets cute, because it either is doing two things. It's either there are physicists, actual scientists arguing what this pitch is doing. And then of course there are baseball guys analytics guys who are measuring these things. A breaking pitch, according to physicists, produces the optical illusion of that so-called last-minute break that you always read about from baseball scouts, from baseball analysts. Mariano Rivera, he has a last-second break on his breaking pitch. Physicists will tell you that that's an illusion. And they call the illusion seam-shifted wake. Basically, how to describe it? The release point, after you release the ball, one side of the ball is actually rotating quicker than the other from whatever snap or whatever you're doing with it. So because of that, that pitch is automatically going to go here, but to the eye, it looks like that because of the torque that's produced on one side of the ball. I don't necessarily know whether I believe that or not, but hey, if it fools the hitter, then that's how it works. That's fine. Baseball analysts, on the other hand, are saying that no, there is going to be a break on the pitch. And before he was taught the sweeper, Andrew Heaney threw a curveball. The curveball would break almost 4 feet. It broke about 46.8 inches. The slider, this sweeper that he's throwing, breaks 40 inches. Now that's almost 9 inches of difference there. So if I think I see a curveball and it's going to go here, but it only goes here, my bat's going to go underneath it. My bat's not going to be able to time it properly if that's what I'm seeing. So what we're talking about now is simplifying the way the pitch comes and giving either the optical illusion or an actual break. And either way, the hitter is getting a little screwy in the head. Can't figure out where the pitch is going to go, so you can't time it. So, can it last? And by the way, just so you know, if you actually do want to try and teach it or learn it yourself, this is a 2-seam grip. And the move is horizontal. So the result is somebody who had an ERA of over 7 in his last stop with the Yankees, and now he's gone 2 starts, he hasn't allowed an earned run, and he struck out 11 in his last start, which is impressive. But can it last? I'm not sure. Here's why. 1, we only have a sample size of 2 starts. Come on, let's not give him the Cy Young just yet, right? But there's an additional reason. He's a 2-pitch guy now. Yeah, he's got a fastball, and he's got this sweeper. Now that's great if you're a relief pitcher, like a Blake Trinan, Kenley Jansen, a Mariano Rivera. But does it work as effectively when you're a starter? I'm not sure it does, no matter how great that pitch is. See, if I were at the plate after a while, I'm telling myself, I'm going to still wait for that fastball. If I see anything that breaks, I don't care if it's a strike, I'm letting it go by. So the jury is still out on Andrew Heaney. But I got to tell you, if this is something that they're building upon, now you're taking a 3-man rotation of Buehler, Kershaw, and Arias, and you've got something formidable there. So you tell me what you think. Because I don't necessarily know if this is going to last, but it is fascinating, wouldn't you say? If you enjoyed today's episode, by all means, like, subscribe, and comment. Thank you for watching. I'm James, and I hope I'm going to be a little bit more awake tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Quien Corte El Queso production. Have a good day. Bye-bye.